Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Eric with SweetSpotDFS, and welcome to a DFS strategy show for the 2022 Fortinet Championship. Now, I know the year is 2021, but this tournament is going towards the 2022 season, therefore I'm naming it as such. And I'm going to do that with all the fall events going forward. So I just want to give you a heads up so we avoid any confusion in the future. Now, hopefully you're able to watch the preview video I put out a little earlier today, as I'm going to grab a lot of information from that video into this one without much explanation. If you haven't seen it, don't worry. I'm going to link a video, top right-hand corner. Go ahead, drill down on that link, watch the video, come back to this one, and you'll have a better understanding of what I'll be talking about and the plays that I'll be on. Plus, you're going to get introduced to 2 new weekly contests that I'm going to run every single week during the preview show. Let me throw them on the screen for you quickly. This is the first contest. I like to call it the subscriber contest. You need to be subscribed to the channel and comment on any of the videos that I put out. Now, I put out 3 videos, and if you comment in each of those videos, I'm going to give you a free entry per video that you comment on. So you can get up to 3 free entries, and you can get a 4th free entry just by sharing it on Twitter or on Instagram. Now, the only way I'm going to run the contest is if the goal is met for the week. And my goal this week, you can see it on the screen right now, it's 250 subscribers. We're at 230. You can kind of see the tracker over there. We're at 230 out of 250. So all we need is 20 new subscribers. If we reach that goal by the review video, before I hit record on the review video, I will run this contest. And one of you guys will win $10 free. If the goal is not met, I'll just carry on all of your entries to next week's contest, which will only be worth $10, but you'll get more entries into it, increasing your chances of winning. So that's how this contest works. The second contest is a prize picks contest. This one's a little different. Basically, all I need you to do, sign up with prize picks using the code SweetSpot and putting in a $20 minimum deposit. Once you do that, prize picks will email me a list of those people. And from there, I will run a contest every review video for all of those people who do. If you're the only person to do it this week, guess what? You're going to get free or $20 free into your, well, whatever account you want. We'll call these SweetSpot dollars. You'll get 20 free SweetSpot dollars. It's going to be like playing prize picks for free. So if you do put $20 in, first of all, prize picks will match your deposit, so they'll give you an additional 20, and I will give you 20 as well if you win the contest, that is. It'll be like you're playing for free. You'll get 40 free prize picks dollars. So again, you need to sign up using the code SweetSpot, and you need to put a minimum deposit of $20 into it. Prize picks is a lot of fun. And I have a link in the description below that'll get you straight to the sign up page. Actually, you got to hit start playing now or something like that. Once you do that, the referral code SweetSpot just automatically generates into there. And you just need to fill out your information. And again, put a $20 deposit in. So if you do that before the review video, you will be entered into the contest. And that's easy. It's as easy as that. All right, done with contests, done with all that stuff. If you want to see what I'll cover in this video in depth, I have timestamps in the description below. You can also find those timestamps on YouTube's progress bar. All you gotta do is hover over it and you'll see them there. But basically, this video is all about narrowing down our player pools, trying to find our anchor plays of the week, and we do it by looking at the SweetSpot rank, Marquee tee time pairings, looking at our anchor buckets, and from there we build lineups. So again, you can see all that stuff in the timestamps. Let's just go ahead, get into this. Let's stop wasting time and get into this. Okay, we're going to start with the SweetSpot rank. Now, I have explained what goes in this rank in the past, but if you are a new user or a new viewer, I'll show you what it entails. I like to look at the official World Golf ranking. I think this is a good measure of how good a golfer is, especially if you look at the official World Golf ranking, I look at the top 300, you're going to see some golfers you're not aware of. So it's pretty comprehensive, giving you good skill as to who these golfers are, basically. I like to look at the grass stats for the week. We're looking at POA stats this week. Tournament history, bogey avoidance, birdie or better, DK average, recent form average, and scoring average. These are all recent form stats. So basically just looking at the last 7 weeks with these points in there. And then I'm looking at season-long DK average and season-long scoring average. This obviously comes from the 2021 season. That then, calculates into a score. And from there, we do a ranking. You can see the ranks over here. Here's your top 20. Brendan Todd is your 20th ranked golfer for me in this field. You can see Taylor Gooch just below him. But it's your usual suspects. Well, first of all, we don't really see Jon Rahm at this tournament, but he's obviously playing. He's the #1 golfer in the world. He's my #1 ranked golfer in this tournament. And it's not even close. I think he's eclipsed the next golfer. Maybe it's Hideki. Yeah, Hideki by 100 points. And just to show you that. So Rahm, 922. Hideki, 815. Third ranked guy, Webb, 810. So there's a 5-point difference between Webb and Hideki. There's a 100-point difference between Rahm and Matsuyama. That's how skewed it is towards Rahm. And I mean, Rahm is the complete package. The only thing I would say about Rahm that I could see being kind of a failure this week is if he has his mind on the Ryder Cup, which is obviously next week. By the way, I'm not doing any videos for the Ryder Cup. Just throwing that out there right now. I'll provide that on all the socials as well. But it's hard to track that. It's a fun tournament, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to take the week off to prep for everything else that I want to do for this channel and for this brand. So anyways, the only way that I think derails Jon Rahm from playing well here is, again, his mind is on the Ryder Cup. And if he wants to get out of this tournament early, he's going to take a lot of risks. And who knows? Maybe he does poorly because of it. But for whatever reason, I think that's going to, for me, I think that's going to make him play better. For whatever reason. He's just a machine currently. So I like Rahm. Obviously, the rankings bear that out as well. And you can see some of the other guys. I don't care to talk about the rest of them. You can see all the 10K guys are your top ranked positions, which is really good to see. Sometimes we see some of these 10K golfers somewhere down here, and we see some 8Ks or even some 7Ks pass them up within the score, meaning just, not a good play. But we do have all of our 10K golfers up there. Is there anything interesting? Maybe. Harry Higgs being the 14th ranked golfer. He's $7,600. I don't know where that is when it comes to salary, but I guarantee you it's ranked lower than 14th for salary rank. So that's interesting, obviously. And then I guess Lonto Griffin and Sepp Straka, two other 7K golfers that are on my radar just because their sweet spot rank is really good. Really interesting to see Phil. Now, I am not very confident with Phil this week, but the rankings would bear out that he's actually a decent play. And you might find out a little bit later that the optimal lineup wants Phil in it as well. Just throwing that teaser out there. He might be in that. But otherwise, everything kind of looks as it should. Charlie Hoffman, $8,800. Maybe value-wise, he's a much better play than what his price tag shows. I do have a value column. You can see what that looks like. So, yeah. That's all I have to say about Sweet Spot rank. I don't want to go into all of the players, just the top 20. But what I will say, the Sweet Spot rank dictates the Marquee Tee Time pairings. So let's go ahead and get into the Marquee Tee Time pairings. Now, in order to come up with these Marquee Tee Time pairings, each golfer in a group, so you can see game 1 includes Brandon Hagee, Bill Haas, and Peter Malnati. Their Sweet Spot rank has to be under 104. And 104 is significant because that's 2/3 of 156. There's 156 golfers in this field. 2/3 of that is 104. If all 3 golfers rank under 104, like cumulatively, I'm going to highlight their group with this dark green color. You can see Simpson, Grillo, and Michael Thompson are the first group that has that very thing. Their sum equals 59. So when we add up their ranks, it comes to 59. So well under 104. So I'm going to highlight this dark green. Now, I've highlighted some of these light green because they're really close. This equals 117, so we're 13 points off. And it's a decent group. Sepp Straka, who we just talked about, Patrick Rogers, and Russell Knox. Like, it's not a terrible group. Same thing would apply with the Griffin, Brendan Todd, and Danny Willett group. Like, Danny Willett's kind of a dark horse, in my opinion. I do like Willett this week. So either way, that's how the color coding over here works. And basically what I like to do with this, just highlight or filter out by color. So you can see these are your marquee tee time pairings. You can see the games and obviously who they're paired up with. The reason why the marquee tee time pairings are important to me is every week that I've done this, except for 1 week, there's been one outlier week where we have not seen two golfers from these marquee tee time pairings not being in the optimal lineup. That 1 week that this happened, there was one golfer in the optimal lineup. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is you can expect to see two golfers from these groups of golfers, or I should say these pairings, the tee time pairings, that will show up inside the optimal lineup this week. So we have 7 groups, that's 21 golfers. We just need to choose at least 2. Now, my rule of thumb is don't pick 2 golfers from the same group. So if you do like Webb Simpson, don't add him with Emiliano Grillo. In fact, I would highly encourage you to build separate lineups with these golfers in it. So if you have the opportunity, the ability to do that with whatever tools you use, please do so. Don't put Simpson and Grillo together. As much as you want to, just don't do it. You're going to save yourself some money, and you're going to optimize your performance with DFS golf. And again, it's just my analysis throughout the weeks. There also has been, I think, 2 weeks where we've seen 2 golfers from the same group finish inside the top 10, but not in the same optimal lineup. Meaning you can pair 2 golfers up together. It's just you're not going to find an optimal lineup. I mean, the odds are just against you, so why try it? Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about some of these guys. Let me go ahead and highlight these golfers again. I know, kind of a pain in the butt. Wish I could just do it easy. For me, I do like Webb Simpson. He is ranked 3rd in my model. He's in all of the buckets that I do like to see. Him in, that is. He's in the morning and he's playing with 2 decent golfers. Like, I do like him with Emiliano Grillo. I guess I don't really care about Michael Thompson at this event. He is 44th in my model, but I do like Webb Simpson. And I guess the best way to look at this is maybe look at grass stats. He's okay on POA. 21% clip of finishing inside the top 10. That's not terrible. His POA stats altogether are just kind of average. So I don't mind Webb Simpson at this tournament. With that being said, Emiliano Grillo, he is 12th in my model, but he is a past champion as well. I'm not super huge on Grillo this week. $8,900 is pretty steep. I'm not really comfortable with it, so I'm probably not going to get there. I will play him in some lineups, but not a lot. And again, I'm probably just going to fade Michael Thompson. I really do like John Rahm, and he's in a pretty decent group. Like, I like Rahm, I like Homa, and I like Siwoo Kim. I think they all can play off each other, and that's kind of what's great about looking at these tee times. Because if you haven't heard, there's a thing called drafting in golf, where if one golfer gets off to a hot start, the other golfers are able to draft behind him and play a little bit better than they haven't been able to before. I shouldn't say been able to before, but probably better than what we expect them to do. Now, likewise, you could be in a bad group where it kind of, what's the word I want to use with this one? Walls you off from doing better, barricades you, I guess. I don't know. If you are in a bad group, the energy goes down and everybody in the group plays worse. So there's the possibility of that as well. But I like this. I like this group to feed off each other's energy. I just realized Siwoo Kim's in there, and Siwoo, he can throw fits. I mean, they all can, right? Except for Max Homa. All right, maybe I eat my words a little bit, but either way, I do like the group. Next group, Phil Mickelson, Cameron Champ, Kevin Tway. I think these are all California boys, right? No. Phil, home state California, Champ, home state Texas, and Tway, Florida. They all did go to school in the Southwest, Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma probably not really. Well, Texas and Oklahoma. I wouldn't really consider Southwest, but I guess like it works. I was trying to find, why they'd be paired up together. What is the commonality? But there really isn't one. I don't care for the group. I like Cameron Champ, and Kevin Tway isn't a terrible 6K play, but for the most part, I might stay away from that group. The next one I do like a lot, Cameron Tringali, Doug Gim, Hank Lebioda. Now, Tringali, before doing any research and just seeing the numbers, I was like, yeah, I like Tringali a lot. But there was something that kind of held me against it, and I think it was his POA splits. Like, I don't necessarily like what I see with his POA splits. 50 is his average finishing position on POA. That's not extremely good. He does have nearly a 10% clip of finishing inside the top 10, which isn't terrible. And his 2021 performance was not bad either. I mean, he did play better than both Max Homa and Webb Simpson. Just two notable golfers that we just talked about. So I don't mind that, honestly. $9,700, a little expensive. Maybe not the value I'm looking for, but I'll be playing Tringali nonetheless. Hank Gim, there I added the names together. Doug Gim and Hank Lebioda, two young guys with phenomenal talent. I say load up whenever you can. We need 7K golfers. This might actually be these might be one of the 7K golfers in your optimal lineup. We found that out with the preview video that was a part of the optimal lineup. A 7K golfer, you need one. You're going to want one. I mean, the 7K range is pretty big anyways. So either way, maybe it's one of these two. Very, very possible. The next group, Matsuyama, Kuchar, and Swafford. Now, Kuchar actually ranks out pretty decent here, but I don't trust him. He played pretty awful in 2021. I don't know what that was a case of. Like, I don't know if he was just uncomfortable with the season. It was the first full season back from COVID. So I don't know if that had something to do with it, but I just don't trust Kuchar. He's getting older. Usually with getting old. Sorry if this is insensitive, but it is the truth. Getting older, you lose a little bit of your strength. And someone who doesn't hit the ball far to begin with, I can see, the air deflating out of the tires a little bit. Now, Hudson Swafford, very streaky. He can play really well at times, but he's very volatile. So be prepared to deal with whatever you're going to with Hudson Swafford. I think he can be a good play. Don't get me wrong. He can score birdies in bunches. And, I mean, if you want to win a GPP, he might be your guy. Hideki Matsuyama, not a lot of people are talking about him, but he has really good POA splits. Okay course history. He's in all the buckets that I want. He's number 2 ranked in the field. He is not playing in the Ryder Cup next week. Hideki might not be a terrible play at this tournament. A lot of things are rating out to be pretty good for a decent Matsuyama finish. The next group under that, Will Zalatoris, Mark Leishman, Brandt Snedeker. I can't do Brandt Snedeker ever. He's another guy who's getting older, and with his, he's not that old. He's 40. So I take that back. I don't know. The guy doesn't hit the ball far enough anyways, and every year that he gets closer to 50, I know he's just turned 40. But I don't know. I don't care for his game. I'm going to be honest. This is a tournament he's done well at in the past, so I have no problem if you want to go to him because of that. But I don't trust him. And Mark Leishman can't ever, another short driver of the golf ball or a short ball hitter. For whatever reason, he can't find fairways off the tee. He's super far offline a lot. And personally, at $9,500, I don't like that. If you're not hitting the ball far and being offline, I don't want someone who hits the ball short and hits it offline. And that's kind of who Mark Leishman is. And at $9,500, I can't get there. There's no way I can get to $9,500. There might be a little bit of FOMO in me. I might play him in one lineup, but that's going to be about it. Like I don't want to deal with Mark Leishman this week. Last group, Charlie Hoffman, Patton Kizzire, and Nick Taylor. I think Kizzire and Taylor are phenomenal 7K golfers to choose from. I find no issue loading up on either one of them. And they're ranked pretty decent, 23rd and 28th in my model. I'm sure that surpasses their salary rank in this field. And then Hoffman, he's my 6th ranked golfer at $8,800. We kind of talked about it with the rankings. I like Hoffman this week. I think it's a good play. He had a pretty decent 2021 season. POA is not a terrible surface for him. He actually looks to do pretty decent on it. And then, yeah, I guess I have nothing else to say with that. That's a pretty good group to choose golfers from. But again, hopefully we see 2 more golfers, hopefully 3 actually, to finish inside the optimal lineup. And what I want these marquee tee time pairings to provide is at least 4 golfers in the optimal lineup going forward. But with golf, there's volatility, and some of that can just be a random guy in a random group that just should not be there, but ends up, finishing inside the top 10. So if we can get 3, I think that's a victory, and I'm okay with 2. We can start here. I usually like to build lineups with 2 golfers from here and move forward. But where do we select those golfers? Now, for me, it's an easy solution. I come here to the bucket system, the summary that is. I try to find the anchor buckets that I want to build my lineups around. I want to find the anchor buckets to choose golfers from, that is. So the very first thing that I like to do, first of all, why don't we put this projection has to be greater than 1. So let me actually put something different. I've never really explained where I get these projections from, but basically what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the success rate of that bucket. I'm looking at how many golfers are in that bucket this year. And I'm looking at the strength of field that, what's the word I'm looking for? So basically, I grab the strength of field points for each golfer within this bucket, and I apply it to the bucket. So whatever they provide, what each bucket provides. Now, the strength of field is 212, by the way, which is pretty low. Most of it comes from John Rahm. I think 45 or 48 points of it comes from John Rahm. Without him, this strength of field would be like 160, 170, 170, which is very low. It's worse than the Palmetto last year. I think it's worse than the Wyndham Championship. It's a bad field without John Rahm in it. And that's because there's a lot of rookies, by the way. But either way, I include strength of field within my projections because it gives you a good sense of who's going to do well. So to me, it's the most important stats, your success rating, how many are in the bucket this year. Obviously, if it's a volume-driven bucket, I want that to be shown within the projections. And then also with that, the strength of field that's associated with that bucket, I also want to be present. So that's how I get my projections. I want my anchor buckets to be over 1, or actually just greater than 0.95, 94. Greater than 0.94. So that'll narrow down the buckets a little bit. And then from here, what I want to do, let's see. Let's get a frequency rate of greater than 75% in the optimal lineups. I think it's 0.75 if I recall. Yep. Greater than or equal to. There we go. So this has narrowed it down considerably even more. Now, for me, first of all, I want to see minimums here under the optimal lineup bucket. This is showing you how many times this bucket has been inside the optimal lineup. It's showing you the min-max. So if this is greater than 0, that means it's happened at least every single year, or at least once every single year. If you see a larger number, then obviously it's 2 or 3 times every single year. But I think this is a pretty decent mix of... I think it's a pretty good mix of buckets. I kind of want to get it a little bit lower than this. It's a little easier to work with. Perhaps I want this to be greater than 90. I think that's what we'll do. And I'll explain this one as well. Let's go greater than or equal to 90. So the projection drives the max ownership, and out of 600 positions, this is what I'm going to dedicate. Okay, first of all, I create 100 lineups. Each lineup has 6 positions, so that's 600 available positions. This number here in this column indicates how many golfers from that bucket that I'm willing, or how many positions I'm going to allocate for that bucket. Sorry, hard way to get there. Plus, I'm distracted by this last week one. Don't pay this any attention. Every golfer in the field is the last week one. So, I mean, we already have a victory. We already have a W with that one. But either way. The number one bucket we want to look at, last year ones. And those are golfers who did not play last year. Now, that doesn't mean they have zero course history, that they've never played this tournament before. But it's golfers who just, quite frankly, have not played. Now, the success rate is pretty low. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with the fact that we've seen an average of 62 golfers in this bucket over the last 7 years. This year we have 76. So it's very volume driven. 72% of the strength of field points go towards this bucket. And I think it's primarily because, well, first of all, Jon Rahm's in this bucket. But secondly, there's 76 golfers out of 156 within this bucket. It's insane. So yeah, we're going to see golfers inside the top 10 from this bucket. No doubt. Like, I would put money on it. And it would be simple. It'd be easy money. Now, how I look at this, when I try to find my min-max projections, I usually like to take this max ownership because it's usually a lower number. It's a lower number if you move the decimal place over 2 spots to the left. So instead of 373, it would be 3.73. I always round down. So this would be 3. I'm looking at this bucket. The minimum is 3. The max, I usually always round up. Now, if it's like 6.1 or 6.08 or whatever, I'll round down, but I'm pretty comfortable with 6.2 and up to round up, I should say. So for me, this bucket, we want to choose somewhere between 3 to 6 golfers. I mean, this will end up rounding up to 7, but obviously we can't put 7 of these golfers in our lineup. We only put 6. So either way, 3 to 6. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look. Who are our last year ones? That was really weird to say that way. Clear this out and just look at all of our last year ones, and not just, well, actually, here are your last year ones that are in the marquee tee times. So Jon Rahm, like I said, you have Webb Simpson, Homa, Champ, Matsuyama, Zalatoris, Nick Taylor. I'm probably staying away from the other 3 golfers and watch me get burned. They might show up in the optimal lineup. But this is actually a good way to do this. I never thought about going this route. But here you go. This is a good place to start. Personally, for me, it's Jon Rahm. I'm going to start a lot of my lineups with Jon Rahm. I actually don't mind putting Cameron Champ in there. But from Rahm, I'm going to go to Hideki. Those are my 2 favorite golfers this week. I think one of them should definitely finish inside the top 10. So those would be my 2 choices. I also do like Will Zalatoris, and I have no issue with Webb Simpson. We have 4 of our 10K golfers, 4 out of the 5 10K golfers here in the Marquee T10 pairings, as well as the last year 1 bucket. But let me open this up to everybody. And then let's sort by salary, just to give you a better look. Actually, Jon Rahm has 49 points towards the strength of field, 212. How about this? I'll tell you the golfers I don't like, because I think up here at the top, it's going to be pretty low. Mark Leishman, one of them. Obviously, I said that. I do like the other golfers I see. Probably not that high on Dylan Fratelli. Also not that high on Charles Howell III. So I'll mark those guys. I really don't care for Ryan Moore. Although he can show up anywhere, but there's no confidence in me to play Ryan Moore this week. Matt Kuchar would be another one. Grayson Sig, I don't care that much about him. I also don't care that much about Adam Svensson. But that's it. Of all the 7K golfers, those are the only ones I don't care for in this bucket. The rest of them, I could see arguments being made to play any of them. Mito Pereira, I know he's the darling of the DFS industry right now, but maybe deservedly so, because 35th in my ranking, 8,000 is not terrible. Value is 0.919. So that's pretty good. I don't mind playing someone like Amito. I really like Steven Yeager. Steven Yeager, if you didn't know, shot a sub 60 round. I can't remember if it was a 59 or a 58 or a 57, but he did that in a Corn Ferry event probably 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago. He also, I think, finished 4th at a US Open. I think maybe that same year. So the guy has a lot of talent. Steven Yeager is definitely a name to consider. But I'm not going to spend that much more time on this. These are your last year ones. And really, I think that's your only last year bucket to talk about. And we're not going to talk about a last week bucket because, again, everyone is the same. No one played last week. It was a week off, so we're not talking about that. Course history buckets, 2, 3, and 5. They all have over 1, and we've seen, course history 5 and course history 3s in the optimal lineup every single year. Dating back to 2018, I believe. Because I think that was the first time DraftKings came out with contest for this event. So either way, these are your 2, for me, solid buckets. I do see at least 1. I am projecting somewhere between 1 to 2 course history 5s, somewhere between 1 to 3 course history 3s, somewhere between 1 to 2 course history 2s. And let's try to find who those golfers are. So let's start with course history 2, just easier to remember, and then we'll go to course history 3 and then to 5. So of the course history 2 golfers, how many are in this bucket? We have 34. So that is 14 more than we see on average. It only makes up nearly 14% of the strength of field within these buckets, within the course history buckets. So that's not very good. But I think what we saw was Webb Simpson leading the way, which I don't think is terrible. But if I'm going to pick based off of salary and what I can do with lineups, I'd much rather go to McNeely and Hoffman than I would Simpson. And I don't mind Gooch. I don't mind Perez. I don't mind playing any of those guys. And there aren't many 7K and above golfers. There are way more 6K golfers. So perhaps this is where we just take a shot with a 6K golfer, which I think you're going to need to. I feel like one of the salary buckets in the 6K range was one of those that you wanted. Let me double check. So the upper 6K range, no. I mean, we've seen one in this upper 6K range inside the top 10 every given year, but we do not see in the optimal lineup. So I'm going to take that away. So anyways, yeah, it's for the 6K range for the course history 2s. Choose at your own will. Again, we are only picking 1 to 2 out of this bucket. Yeah, 1 to 2. Now, if you want to choose 3, be my guest. If you want to avoid it, that's fine as well. But I'm projecting somewhere between 1 to 2. Not so much 1. It's either 1 or 2. But yeah, I like Hoffman. I like McNeely. I like Gooch, Perez. Those are golfers I can get behind. I can get behind Kazire, Shank, Merritt, Lebioda. Don't mind that. 6K range. Stallings is pretty decent. Brendan Hagee, I don't mind. He's a bomber. If you're going to be inaccurate, might as well bomb the ball, and that's what Hagee does. Plus, he had a couple good showings this last year. I think Rocket Mortgage was one of them, maybe. Maybe one of those Texas events like the Charles Schwab. I can't remember. But I don't mind Hagee. He's fairly talented. I'll probably stay away from the rest of these guys down here. The scroll button works. Most of these are ranked outside my top 100, so I'm not going to really worry about any of these guys. Now, sometimes the top 100 does show up inside the top 10, top 100 in my rankings, but I'm doing pretty good at flushing those golfers out and trying to find the true values, the true golfers that are good down in this range. But that's not to say one of these guys won't finish inside the top 10. It's totally possible, but I'm not putting any money on it. So anyways, that would be your course history 2s. Let's take a look at the course history 3s. And this bucket has how many in it? 49. So this is a very volume driven bucket. We can see somewhere between 1 to 6 or 1 to 3 inside the top 10, and we've seen 1 inside the optimal lineup every single year. So course history 3s is a good place to start. I do like Tringali. 97 is very expensive though. That's hard to build lineups around. I don't like Mark Leishman. That'll probably come to bite me in the ass, but I just don't care for him. Siwoo Kim, interesting play. I can never get Siwoo right, and I don't trust him. Like, when he's not playing well, he lets his, I think because of how quiet Siwoo is and the fact that we don't see him inside the top 10 leaderboards all that often, he's not on TV all that often, we don't really see the quote-unquote passion that he plays with. If we're going to compare Rahm with the passion that he has, Siwoo probably has a little bit more passion when he plays. If you watch, he gets very ornery. If it's not going his way, he will quit even when he's really close to making the cut. He'll just say, there's no point. Let's just go home. So anyways, I don't really trust Siwoo Kim. I do like Sebastian Munoz. He is not in the Marquee T10 pairings. Obviously, you can see that over here. There's Homa once again. I like him. Bryn Todd, Jaeger. I guess I can go ahead and say the golfers I don't like. Svensson would be one. Doc Redman. This is gonna be a wait and see approach with Doc Redman. When I got on him last week, or not last week, but last year, Jesus. I thought he was gonna play better, and he had for a while, but then, like when I decided, okay, this is the time to play him, he just fell off the face of the earth once again. Swafford is there, 7,200. We talked about him in the Marquee T10 pairings. Maybe it's a good time to play Swafford. The strength of field isn't very high. He has most of his wins in very low strength of field events. So Hudson Swafford's not a terrible play. From here on down, it's just going to be, a lottery pick, basically. I don't mind like a Luke List, Knox, Hoagie. Rogers is decent. Again, I'm going to stay away from Kuchar. I like Scott Piercy. Some of these other guys, like Vincent Whaley's really good for his price tag. That is like that value 0.927. That's real. He's a good golfer. Kyle Stanley. You know what? Kyle Stanley, I think, is always going to be an elite ball striker, but he's just always going to be a bad putter. So I don't know. Take a risk with Stanley. I'm going to. I'll play him in a couple lineups. I don't have fear of rostering him, but I do have fear of rostering him too much. Going down here, no one else really worth talking about. Adam Long, by the way. Don't sleep on him. Very good golfer. Has a win he has a win in the desert. So some people will say that's California, but really it's different golf than what we're playing here. In Napa Valley or in Napa, California. But either way, I think he's a decent play as well. Now, the next bucket to look at, course history 5s. A little bit smaller, a little bit easier to navigate. We are looking at somewhere between 1 to 2 in this bucket. And we do see 1 to 2 in the optimal lineups every single year. So again, good validation to pick golfers from. Probably staying away from the 6K range. I don't mind, or I don't care for any of these guys down here. But 7K and above, we have 10 golfers to choose from, and I don't mind any of them. I'm going to stay away from Snedeker. I'm going to stay away from Mickelson, and I'm probably going to stay away from Ryan Moore. And probably Harold Varner III. I can't stand playing Harold Varner III. Every time I do, he does poorly. And in fact, I don't know if there's been a time where I didn't roster Harold Varner III and regretted it. So I guess just don't play HV3. That's fine with me. So now I've narrowed it down to 6 golfers. If you need a 7K golfer, there you go. Brendan Steele's your guy. Otherwise, 8K range, Ches Reavie and Emiliano Grillo, not terrible plays. I like Cameron Champ, but really it's Matsuyama for me, and Kevin Na is pretty close behind. He's 4th ranked in my model. I like Kevin Na. And that's going to cover it with the course history anchor buckets. Now we get into the recent form anchor buckets, and we're looking at bucket 1 and bucket 2. Now, bucket 1, we've seen at least twice every single year inside the top 10. We've seen at least once in every optimal lineup for this event. Recent form 2, we don't have that luxury. We've seen 0 before. It does have a 75% frequency rate, which is pretty good. That's probably 6 out of 8, because I think my data goes back 8 years. So 6 out of 8 years, we've seen 1 inside the top 10. That's pretty good. We do have more golfers in this bucket than we typically see on average, and it does make up a 25% of the strength of field for these recent form buckets. So that's not terrible. And it has a 75% frequency rate of finishing inside the optimal lineup, which I think I have 4 years of data, so it's been in the optimal lineup 3 of those 4 years. So again, another good bucket to choose from. Let's see who these golfers are. Now, bucket 1, a little larger than we probably feel comfortable with. And the number 1 golfer based off a salary is Mark Leishman. You know I don't want to go there, and I'm probably not going to go to Siwoo Kim. But there's Champ again, there's Grillo, there's Homa, Reavie, Todd, Jaeger. A lot of the same names we've already talked about, so it's just giving you more validation to feel comfortable playing these guys. Now, again, I say this in every video, it doesn't ensure that it's a lock play. It just increases the opportunities that that golfer is going to finish inside the top 10. So, with that being said, play at your own risk. But Mito's there, Gooch, these are all talented golfers. I don't mind Doug Gim. Really any of these golfers. Maybe this is where we find our 7K golfer. I don't mind any of them. I'm not going to say one is better than the other. Probably not select Chesson Hadley. I don't really trust him at this tournament. But the other guys, I think pretty decent. I mean, if I'm playing golfers from this bucket and I need to choose somewhere between 1 to we are on recent form 1s? Yeah. If I need to select somewhere between 2 to 4 of these golfers, because that's basically what I'm projecting, 2 to 4. I think I gotta start. Shoot. Maybe I have to start with a 9K golfer from here. Watch, it's gonna be Mark Leishman, who's gonna be in the optimal lineup. I would hate that so much. That or Siwoo. Like, I like Champ a lot, so I'll probably play a lot of Champ. I do like Grillo. I like Homa. But yeah, 7K range, I think that's where we might want to select some of these guys. I think the 6K range is pretty decent too. Vincent Whaley, like we were just talking about. Sam Ryder, Cameron Percy, Michael Thompson. These are all under 50th ranked in my rankings. A lot of it does, again, have to do with the fact we have a bunch of Korn Ferry graduates who are going to be hungry. They're going to want to play well at this tournament, and they're extremely talented. So just because these ranks for these guys are pretty friendly with them, there might be some Korn Ferry graduates that are a little bit better to consider. Mark Hubbard seems like an okay play. $6,500. He's ranked 60th in my model. And Andrew Landry, 58th in my model. These are low 6K golfers that I think you could probably put on your lineup. You know, sprinkle into your lineups here and there. And be okay with. But man, if I had to choose between 2 to 4, I mean, I think Whaley might, well, I want to look at my POA splits. And he doesn't have very good POA splits. Ryder, though, 12.5% finishing inside the top 10. Okay, so Sam Ryder, I like. Patrick Rogers, there we go. A darling to many. I do like him. I like Kazire. I think that's a good play. I don't mind Mito, and I also don't mind Doug Gim. Now, Mito plays really well on bent grass surfaces. POA, he has not made a cut yet. So maybe we stay away from Mito and we just stick with Doug Gim. Taylor Gooch, I know, is another favorite, but not the greatest course history at this event. everyone's waiting for him to turn the corner, and it just hasn't happened yet. So I'm probably gonna stay away from that. Almost seems like a decent play. Steven Yeager, no. I'm looking at his POA splits. I don't care for that. I mean, Phil looks good, but you know, recent form has not been friendly. Yeah. Mark Leishman has good POA splits, so it's probably Leishman, right? I don't want it to be Leishman. Reeve has good POA splits as well. So I guess I've selected more than 4 golfers. I think we're okay. These would be my choices. Looking at recent form 2, that is the next bucket to look at. This bucket's a little bit smaller. Yeah, by 14 golfers. And we're looking somewhere between 1 to 3 out of this range. And really, Matsuyama for me. Obviously, I like Matsuyama. I don't mind Simpson. I don't mind Tringali, Munoz. These 4 golfers I think are okay to pair your lineups with, or to put in your lineups. We have Maverick McNeely, Charlie Hoffman, Perez. Those are golfers I do like. Interesting to see Lucas Herbert. Yeah, I think it's Herbert. In here, ranked 22nd in my model. Not terrible POA splits for $7,700. Hasn't finished inside the top 10 yet, but his average finishing position is 25th or 25th place in 2021. That could just be one event. His overall POA is 58.17, which isn't terrible, but not super good. So I guess I don't mind that. Harry Higgs shows up in the model, but I'm not sure I really trust Harry Higgs. He did have a second place finish here last year, which isn't terrible. Well, it's good, obviously, but for this tournament, looking into this tournament, it's not a terrible stat to have. Now, he has a 12.5% top 10 POA top 10 success rate. Let's see, is that because it's only one event out of 16? I think that's what it is, right? Let's see here. Yeah, 10% would be 1.6, and he's obviously under. Actually, he's over. So he has 2 finishes that are inside the top 10. Easy math, right? So he has 2 finishes inside the top 10. That's pretty good. Out of 16. 1 out of 8 tournaments. I'm not sure where he's at right now, but I guess Harry Higgs would be an okay play. And then really no one else is like popping off the page. There are some interesting plays I don't mind, like Aaron Rai or even Sai Thigala or Thigala. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Swafford, once again, maybe Swafford is the play. Obviously, I've been kind of downplaying him. He might be the play. Yeah, outside of that, I guess I just don't know. And I think that's pretty much it for the anchor buckets. I really don't care to talk about salary buckets. 8K, 7K. You want to be playing a golfer from, at least one golfer from each range. It looks like you want to play somewhere between 1 to 3 7Ks and 0 to 2 8Ks. It's not terrible. And then strokes gained 3. So these are your positive off the tee, negative putters. That would span the entire 2021 season. So if you do go to PGA Tour or PGATour.com and you look at these stats, you can easily find who those golfers are. But I want somewhere between 1 to 3. So now that we've gone through all of that was kind of a very lengthy explanation of all the plays that I like. Why don't we go ahead and build some lineups? Now, I have 2 methods of doing this. I can use my lineup construction page, which I don't mind doing. I like to do this for visual purposes to help you guys see what I'm doing. John Rahm, for me, is going to definitely be a play that I want. So I'm going to put Rahm here, and I'm actually going to select Hideki here. And I'm going to build my favorite John Rahm lineup. I'm going to build my favorite Hideki lineup. So for me, going back to the anchor buckets, last year ones, I think we probably can find a pretty decent way to build lineups here. I want at least 3. And I think Jon Rahm and Matsuyama are last year ones. Going all over the place. So let's clear this. So Rahm, Matsuyama, there we go. We have at least one there. Now we do want some 8K golfers. We also want some 7K golfers. So what do I value more when it comes to these golfers? In this bucket, that is. I think now the dark red here indicates they have no PGA stats, like no strokes gained stats, which probably means they were a Korn Ferry graduate. And I know most of these guys are. So I don't mind playing one Mito lineup. I think if I'm going to do it, it's probably going to be with Jon Rahm. I probably want someone a little bit more expensive. You know what? Screw it. Going with Mark Leishman with Hideki. Obviously, I said I did not want to play Mark Leishman, but we're going to do it. So now we have 2, and we want somewhere between 2 to 4. I think I still want to grab at least one more for each of these lineups, and if not 1, 2. I want a cheaper golfer. Does anyone stand out? I guess Michael Thompson would be in the Marquee Tee Time pairings, as is Matt Kuchar, but I just don't care for any of those guys. Shoot. How about the Lanto Griffin? Lanto and Nick Taylor. So Nick Taylor is in a Marquee Tee Time pairing. But actually, I want to look at my Marquee Tee Time pairings because I do not want to pair these guys up together. I don't remember who Mark Leishman's with. He's with Snedeker and Zalatoris. Okay, I can remember that. Golfers I'm not too worried about, but there's Nick Taylor. Charlie Hoffman is a golfer we do want to select. I think. So Nick Taylor, and then the other one was Michael Thompson. Is that correct? Is that what we were looking at? I can't remember off the top of my head. But we're okay. I think we're okay. Going back to the last year ones. Nick Taylor is definitely a golfer I do want to select. Very good ball striker. So let's do that with the Leishman. So now I have 3 golfers, all with Marquee Tee Time pairings. I don't think I want to select another Marquee Tee Time pairing with this group. I think 3 is just fine. Rahm and Mito, on the other hand, maybe I switch those around because I think I do want to play Lanto. I think I want to play Lanto here and Griffin up here. Or not Griffin, Taylor. So now we have 2 here with Marquee Tee Time pairings. Decent remaining salary left. Now, I like to select a 6K golfer, so I'm probably going to try to find one, but I'm going to get away from the last year ones. Actually, do I want to? Yeah. Max of 3 in the optimal lineup. We don't want to go over 3. We probably don't really want to go over 1, but 3 is okay for me. I'm fine with that. Let's see here. Take this away. We don't want to look at last year ones. I do believe Course History 2 would be on the docket next. Let's go ahead, take a look. There's Hoffman. Hoffman and Taylor are together, right? I believe so. Can I can put Hoffman there. Can I put Hoffman here? 67? No, that's not going to happen. Not going to work out. Man, I kind of want to just change him out with Mito. Sure. Let's do it. Good enough for me. And there's 2 there. That's fine. Like Maverick McNeely wouldn't be a bad choice either. And Patton Kizzire, another good choice. Marquee Tee Time pairing. Let's do it. Put Kizzire there. Sam Ryder was a golfer that I do like. We can put Sam here. Actually, why don't we put Sam up here? Well, first of all, How many do I want from here? Course history 2s. 1 to 2. So we have Hoffman. We don't want any more in this lineup, so I'm not going to select any more. So we'll put it here. Sam Ryder. There we go. So I think that's going to be it for that bucket. Or course history 3s, I believe. The next one. There's Tringali. We already have Leishman, so that's good. And this bucket wants what? 1 to 3 as well. So we have Leishman in 1. That's fine. I mean, we want to find some lower price guys. We have Nick Taylor. We have Lanto. Let's see. What does that look like? Leishman and Lanto. So we have 2 in this one. We have 1 with Taylor. I put 1 more. We're going to go with Hudson Swafford. Do we? Yeah. Hudson Swafford. Perfect. I need a yellow golfer in that. We do want, what was it again? I already forgot. 1 to 3 strokes gained 3 golfers. So that's just this yellow color. I think no. Yeah, sure. Why not? Who would be our best yellow that we could fit? Do we go with Bramlett? I know a lot of people are on Bramlett this week. Bramlett or List? Let's go with List. Course history 2. Griffin, Leishman, Ryder, Matsuyama. We have Griffin. We have Leishman. So we don't need any more there. We're good up here. We have Nick Taylor. Yep, we have 2. So course history 3s, we're done with. We don't need to talk about those guys anymore. Course history 5s. We need to find someone who's going to fit in the lineup. So this would have to be 7,200 or less, and we can go 7,700 in the other one. So with that being said, I think I'm going to try to sneak in Ches Reavie into this lineup. And now we're dealing with some 6K golfers, and in all honesty, I don't care where it comes from. I just want the best 6K golfer. And do we already have one? Yeah, we have Sam Ryder. So we're going to go with 2 in that lineup. That's fine. James Hahn? Vincent Whaley was another choice. Kyle Stanley, Andrew Landry, Mark Hubbard. Some of these guys I don't mind. How about this? I want to look at Poa. Lipsky seems like a decent choice. You know what? I want some young guys, so why don't we find some of the good ones? Chad Ramey. I do like Ramey. We are going to put him here. And then another young guy, Aiden Buckley. I don't mind. Lipsky, obviously. Does he have course history, I wonder? He does not. How about Vincent Whaley? No, young guys, right? I can't find any decent young guys that are coming from the Corn Ferry that are ranked well. This is all just gut plays. Man, someone like a Taylor Pendrith seems like a fun player to play. Or even a Taylor Moore. We're going to take out Ches Reavie. I know that might be sacrilegious to some of you guys. Do that, and I'm going to go back to the... Actually, course history 5s, right? That's what we needed. And make a play here. $7,700. How about Brendan Steele? Sure. So those are my 2 lineups. Sorry to go through it with you like this. Might have been a little painstaking, but these are 2 lineups that I like. I can go another route. We can look at optimal lineups. Now, I don't have any restrictions set on this. I do have some of these mins and maxes. Here, how about this? I'm going to copy this over here just to have easy for me. And I'm actually zero everything out so you guys can see what the optimizer is going to select just based off of the SweetSpot score. You know, what is the optimal lineup based off of the SweetSpot score? And when we run the optimizer, I told you you're going to have to, well, hold on. This looks different. I don't remember seeing this. Do I have zeros everywhere else? I thought for sure Phil Mickelson was going to be in here. And it is interesting. I have no no's all the way through here, so okay. I guess that is the case. It's Jon Rahm, Charlie Hoffman, Lucas Herbert, Harry Higgs, Lonto Griffin, Andrew Landry. I think we got there with some of these guys. There's Hoffman, Rahm, Lucas Herbert, and Griffin, right? Those were all the golfers. Griffin, Herbert, Hoffman, Rahm. I won't lie. I didn't look at this. Like, I didn't do this prior to. At least I didn't remember the names. But we do have Harry Higgs up there and Andrew Landry, like I was telling you guys about. If I go ahead and throw these conditionals in like I had before, these were just the mins that I saw from the bucket system, that summary box. So let's see what the new lineup is going to entail. There we go. Phil Mickelson is in this one. Rahm, Mickelson, Gooch, Herbert, Piercy, and Kuchar. I don't care for Kuchar. I'm going to go ahead and put 1 for 6.5. This is your upper 6K range. So let's see if that moves out Kuchar. Probably won't. But it does. And I actually like this lineup a lot. Rahm, Munoz, Herbert, Kazire, Piercy, Landry. That's a pretty solid lineup. I do like that lineup quite a bit. Now, your best non-Rahm lineup with these conditionals, let me just go ahead and zero this back out. Let me zero this one out as well. Your best non-Jon Rahm lineup would be Kevin Na, Hoffman, Homa, Herbert, Kazire, and Griffin. The last 2, Kazire and Griffin, I think are solid plays. I do like Hoffman as well. Just seeing them up there quite a bit, it feels good to like those guys. I think they're going to do pretty decent this week. That's all I have, I think. I don't have anything else that I want to talk about. We did some lineups. We went over the anchor buckets, the Marquee Tee Time pairings, talked to you about the contests that are going on this week. Again, you know, comment in the comment section. What did I have as the comment topic this week? I didn't even provide one. Are you going to build your lineups with Jon Rahm? Yes or no? That's all I need from you, a yes or a no in the comment section. And you will have a free entry into the contest, of course, if the goal is met this week. So it's as easy as that. Yes or no in the comment. And that's based off of, will you play Jon Rahm this week? And the prize picks contest, again, the link is in the description to sign up with it. If you do, and you put $20 in, you'll be automatically entered into the prize picks contest, which you will have the opportunity to win your $20 back if you do put 20 in. You're not set at that. You can put as much money as you want in there. Prize picks is going to match your deposit up to $100. But if you want $20 free, all you gotta do is sign up with the code, deposit some money. I will get a list of all those that do it. You'll automatically be entered in the contest, and during the review videos, just wait to listen to hear if your name is called, and I will send you $20. Other than that, I guess another thing is if you want the optimizer, which will have the dream sheet attached to it, the bucket summary, all that good stuff. If you want this, just email me. You gotta be subscribed. Email to me. I do prefer if you leave a comment, just to give the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, a little bit more statistics to say, hey, this is a channel that I think most people want to watch. That'll help, but basically just email me. And I know most of you guys are pretty regular asking for it, so I don't mind sending it to you one way or the other. But yeah, help the channel out as much as possible. That's all I have for you guys when it comes to the strategy video. I will have one more video out tomorrow. It's the prize picks video, going over my favorite prize picks plays of the week, as well as giving you my top DFS picks for the week as well. It's a short 6-7 minute video, just highlighting those two things. So again, do all the things you need to do to get in the contest. Really appreciate all the help with that. But this video is a wrap. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in that prize picks video tomorrow. All right, bye.